Wisdom. It's an incredibly valuable asset. Some would say more precious than gold. It's attractive, appealing, admirable. Conversely, a lack of wisdom is the basis of immaturity, blind spots, and bad decisions. Wisdom. It can be gained over time, but it can't be rushed. But wisdom can be shared. That's precisely what we are here to do right now. Today, we are here to hack wisdom, to distill it, to understand it, and to process it. Why? To get better at life. Welcome to the main thing. This is your new Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg, and I've set out to interview the wisest people I know. We'll see what we can learn from each one when they're faced with an incredibly difficult, soul-piercing question. Hey there, I'm Skip Linneberg, coming to you today from Parkwood Studios, and I'm delighted to welcome you back to the Main Thing Podcast, your Wisdom Podcast. Speaking of wisdom, sometimes wisdom looks like questioning our assumptions, challenging what we think we know about something. Wisdom involves seeking new and broader perspectives. This is precisely where I find myself on an important issue, the southern border of the United States. Yes, that border we share with Mexico. Over the past few years, like you, I've been bombarded with more headlines, more sound bites, and more 5-second media clips about issues related to our southern border. Policies, walls, illegal entries, drugs, crime, human smuggling, staggering costs. I've not been to the border lately. I was simply lacking wisdom, lacking credible information, lacking real human, unbiased perspective. That's why I pounced on the opportunity to connect with today's guest. He has devoted his life to understanding, helping, and supporting the people and communities that exist in our borderlands. Gil Gillenwater is the founder and president of the award-winning Rancho Feliz charitable foundation. Gil's work has been recognized with Arizona's highest honor for volunteerism and by Mexican authorities as well. Gil is the author of Hope on the Border, the book that tells the raw story of America's borderlands. It's a story of shared humanity and self-interest. It exposes painful truths, but also spotlights solutions and the small redemptions that keep him working for change. Throughout his decades of work with Rancho Feliz, Gil has flipped old models on their head and brought about dignity, empowerment, and reciprocity. Gil is a practical, hands-on leader and also deeply spiritual, kind, and generous. And that's what makes him a great fit for our show. Gil joins us today from his home in Scottsdale, Arizona. Gil Gillenwater, welcome to the Main Thing Podcast. It's great to be with you today.
Skip, it's a pleasure to be here, and I've watched some of your past episodes, and this is exciting for me. I think we're in for a real adventure.
Well, thank you, Gil. Recent news, I learned from you the other day that you're going to be on TV and the subject of an upcoming documentary. Tell us a little bit about that.
Skip, it's crazy how life works. When I was 28 years old, my brother and I decided we were going to walk across Arizona. And, no future plan. We were going to walk across Arizona. It was no small task because there's no water in Arizona.
Okay.
But we got 2 mules and we cobbled together a route, and it got in the newspapers and stuff. Well, sure enough, they turned our route into the Arizona National Historic Trail, which is traveled by thousands of people these days.
Wow.
And so in their 40-year anniversary, they've put together a documentary about how my brother and I, fortunately, we took a lot of photographs and there's some television interviews, but I'm really excited for people to see this. It's a 40-minute documentary, and it really talks about how valuable public lands are to our lifestyle and our mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as you explained it to me, a comparison point for me is the Appalachian Trail over here in the eastern United States.
Extremely popular for a reason.
Yeah. So that's really cool, and I can't wait to get the link from you when that's published.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'll share it out with our listeners. Folks will have heard me in the introduction talk about my interest in, my passion for learning more about our borderlands issues. And if you're an American, you can't not hear about this
Right.
in our media, in the public debate, the rhetoric, the campaign issues. It's just there. When your friend Wes reached out to me and he said, "I've got this guy Gil. Here's what he's about. Here's what he's devoted his life to, and he's got a new book out," I jumped at the chance to connect with you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm in close proximity. I mean, from where I am in the bubble of affluence here in Scottsdale, Arizona, 5 hour drive, and I can be in poverty that I've encountered in Bangladesh and places like that.
Mhm.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Gil, let's get into that a little bit. What first drew your attention to the borderlands, and why have you devoted so much of your life to this region and its people?
You know, I've often thought about that myself. I've always liked Mexico. I was introduced to Mexico by my father early on, just some trips down and back, and I knew that there was poverty there. And I'll tell you a real quick story. Do you remember Groundhog's Day,
Yeah,
the
of
movie with
course.
Bill
Yeah,
Murray? Ah, I
yeah,
love that movie. But
yeah.
anyway, we were sitting down, my brother and I, Troy, were sitting down in 1987 to Thanksgiving, and I said, Troy, you know, I could write the script. We're going to drink too much beer, eat too much turkey, and watch football.
Hmm.
There's nothing inherently wrong with any of those things, but when you
Right.
know 4 hours away, there are people without the basic necessities of the human condition. So we got up, went to, I think it was Costco at the time or Place Club, I don't remember, and bought $2,000 worth of staple items. We're going to Nogales. And
Okay.
here's where I learned an important lesson, Skip. When you are in service to others, you access, it's a portal to coincidence, it's a portal to serendipity.
Mm.
And I missed the turn. I literally missed the turn to Nogales,
Oh,
and we were
wow.
on I-19. We were trying to turn around, and we looked at each other and said, "Well, let's just see where we end up." And sure enough, we went down to Benson, we went to Tombstone, Douglas, and crossed the border into a community called Agua Prieta. Agua Prieta in Spanish means dirty or brackish
Ooh.
water.
Ooh.
It had a population of 110,000 people. Not all of Mexico is like the border region. I've been, you know, Guanajuato and Mexico City is one of the most exciting cities in the world. But the 40 million people in Mexico live on less than $5 a day. And unfortunately, we get a lot of that because people come up, they want to come into America, they can't make it, they tumble back into Agua Prieta, and the conditions are this the places I could take you where it's a virtual refugee camp.
Hmm.
Dirt floors, kids with no running water. I mean, it's just again the contrast between where I live here in Scottsdale, where your average price home is $850,000, to
Wow.
down there where you got people living in clapboard shacks. It's
Yeah.
startling.
Let's go back to that first trip. There you are, you and your brother.
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
$2,000 worth of staples with you.
yep.
What did you do?
We started passing them out, and my Spanish, even though I've been down there so long, my Spanish is really rough. But I saw a sign that said orfanatario. Well, I could figure that one out. Turn down the road, drive down, and I come to a place, and there's this lady named Eunice, and she had collected like 8 children off the streets, and she'd started an orphanage called Rancho Feliz, which we adopted that name. And there was no indoor plumbing, there was no heat, and we raised $15,000, and we went in and we put in indoor plumbing. They could take a shower. We
Ah,
put in heat. That's when I kind of said, I can't pretend like this isn't happening. I've got the privilege. I've got the resources. I've been given in America every opportunity in the world to educate myself, and I'm going to go down there and make a difference. Welfare, in my opinion, is the
hmm.
worst thing you can possibly do to the human spirit. We helped the Tarahumara Indians, and I befriended this guy named Felipe. And I remember up here in Phoenix, I saw this really cool knife. And I said, Felipe would love that. So I took it down my next trip. I found him down in the bottom of the canyon. Felipe, look what I've got for you. And he took it and he opened the blades and everything. And I went off to do something. I came back. He was gone, but the knife was sitting on the log that he was sitting on. And this older Tarahumara tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Oh, no, Mr. Gill, you did a very, very bad thing in our culture."
Wow.
I said, what are you talking about? I gave the guy a gift. He says, yes, but you didn't let him know you were going to do that. So he had nothing to give you back.
Ah,
Now think about that, Skip. What I did there, I'm the benevolent giver and I get to feel all warm and fuzzy. Oh, and
right.
by the way, you're the lowly receiver and I have just stolen your dignity.
Mm,
And I'll tell you what, in my charitable work, I've done it for 40 years. That is one of the very most important lessons you can learn. Don't give anybody anything they didn't earn. Now, how can you do that? Our food distributions. We give bags of food, 1,000 bags of food. We feed 4,000 people. Yes, but to get a bag of food, you have to pick up 20 pieces of discarded plastic in the city of Agua Prieta.
Yeah.
So when I mira, señor, mira mi bolsa, they didn't collect 20, they collected 200. We have our dignity. We all have our dignity. Some of us were born on the wrong side of a fence.
Yep.
That's the only difference between me and those people is blind luck.
Yeah. So they're not getting a handout. They're working to earn something.
They're working for it. And it's, we clean up. I was like 480,000 pounds of trash over the last several years off the city streets. And it's not even that. It's the fact that they contributed. I call it reciprocal giving. You have to involve both parties in the transaction.
Gil, what's the reality of our border between the United States and Mexico? I see 5-second video clips on news and social media. What are we not seeing, and what should Americans understand to have that wiser, broader perspective that I'm seeking?
Well, first of all, they should understand if you were born in the United States of America, you won the largest lottery ever conducted. You are living, if you make $60,000 or more, you are in the top 1% of planet Earth.
Amazing. Yeah.
4 billion people live on less than $7 a day. I mean, the World Happiness Report just came out. America ranks 62 out of 143 countries.
Wow.
We're not happy people here, even though we've got all this wealth. And so that's number one. You got to recognize that this wealth disparity, of course, people are going to want to try to come in. But we can't allow 4 billion. Who's going to take care of 4 billion people? We can't feed everybody. But the problem is, Skip, and we have a hand in this. Number one, if you came over and you wanted to apply for asylum, it can be up to 15 years or longer. Our asylum program is broken.
Oh my
Our
gosh.
citizenship, 15 years.
So there's a big one that we don't often hear about.
Right.
Keep going.
Okay.
What else? What else are we not seeing?
How about this, Skip? Mexico is one of the most dangerous countries in the world as far as murders with the drug smuggling and everything. 98% of the murders in Mexico are committed with guns that are either manufactured in America or smuggled through America.
Oh my God.
So we have a hand in that little problem. We have a hand we are the largest consumer of illegal drugs in the world. And Mexico's going to supply those drugs. Whose fault is that? Is it their fault, or is it the people that are sniffing it up their damn noses? There's
so
number three.
The drugs are coming north,
right?
And the Iron River, you call it, right?
The Iron River.
Those iron gun barrels are flowing south.
Yes.
So those things that's just pure economics, isn't it?
Pretty much every problem with the border is pure economics. We live in a capitalistic country, and I love capitalism, but when it becomes your God, you're in trouble. Unbridled capitalism is a feeding frenzy, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now, where the average person can no more afford to buy a home than the man on the moon.
Yeah.
But the other one, if I was 20, 30 years younger, I would take on the maquiladores. When in the Fair Trade Agreement of 1974, NAFTA, allowed American companies, and there's 3,000 of them, to step right across the border, open a plant, and pay people indentured servitude wages, $14 a day. Now, you tell me, Skip, how do you raise a family on $14 a day?
No.
So Gil Gillenwater can buy a deceptively cheap flat screen TV at Costco. So I guess my message here is America has as much or more of a role in the problems on the border than Mexico ever thought about having.
I know, again, from talking to you and reading your book, that it's not just about the building the wall is not going to fix it.
Right. It'll help. You know what I like about building the wall? I
Tell
walk
us.
those migrant trails and I find the dead bodies. There haven't been any lately because they can't get across.
Okay.
I think a wall is a bizarre 17th century solution to a 21st century problem. We just talked about the wealth disparity, and we
Yes.
just can't open our gates to everybody. Number one, we can't afford it. If it's physically impossible, we can't afford to subsidize millions and millions and millions of people and the suffering. All these people, I got to see it, Skip. You can't imagine these people with their babies, and they were invited, come to United, and they get here, and we say, "Oh, we changed our mind. Now go home." I can't, after struggling through the Darien Gap and all that, do you realize 80%, this is a UN statistic,
Okay.
80% of the women that go on that journey get raped?
Oh gosh.
80%?
Mm.
And that's going on. People dying in the desert trying to get a better life, people being sexually abused. You've got to have control. You have to have control,
Yeah.
or the concomitant suffering. And immigration without assimilation is invasion. When people come here, they need to assimilate, they need to become Americans.
100%.
Otherwise, they brought their crummy country into ours.
100%. Yeah. Gil, your book, Hope on the Border, folks, you can see immediately that it's beautifully produced. It's well written. You captivate us and kind of knock our socks off right in the beginning with a couple powerful stories that are straight out of a Hollywood movie. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and secondly, like many many people in the world today, I have an increasingly shortening attention
Right.
span, and so the lessons in here are a page or two, and I can learn something and digest that. And along the way, I've got the visual that helps me to contextualize that. So I just think it's a fabulous book. You talk about the economics, you talk about the human suffering, you talk about the wall itself, you talk about the culture and the history and the spirituality of Mexico and our neighbors to the south, and it's excellent.
Well, I do appreciate that, Skip, and it can be purchased on Amazon. It's a real easy way to get access to the book. So I really appreciate you bringing that to attention. I've been down there. I've devoted 40 years of my life. And so this is some of the term you use, wisdom, that I have gained. And
Yeah,
I've made my share of mistakes, but I find out what works and what doesn't. And if we can align our programs with basic human nature, they're going to work. But
yeah,
as long as charity is explained as a sacrifice, you can forget it. Who's going to sign up for that?
right, right.
It's my contention is charity is service work is salvation. It's not sacrifice.
Yeah, and a big part of the book and was really informative to me is about the reciprocal giving and the
Yes,
reciprocity.
absolutely.
And you explain that and why it matters, and you justify your point there very, very, very convincingly.
You bet, because I lived it. These aren't these are I lived these are lived experiences, and I called it enlightened self-interest. What I noticed when I would take my volunteers down and we would give new bicycles out to the kids, and we would do food distributions, and the Mexicans were very thankful and all that. But you know what? I noticed every year the group would get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm going, what's going on here?
Mm.
Well, we're feeding their stomachs, they're feeding our souls. My
Ah,
volunteers get a new sense of purpose. They get a new sense of meaning in their lives. And in America these days, it's those venues are really kind of hard to find.
hmm.
So they can go down there, spend 3 days, and know that they literally made a difference. Put a roof on a house. The next time it rains, a whole family doesn't get wet. They've made a difference. And when they're laying on their deathbed, they can say, I'm leaving this world a little better than I found it.
Yeah. Gil, talk a little bit more about, and I know this because we've talked, and again, I've read your book, but how many trips you've made down there and the kinds of projects, the kind of service projects that you've done. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. In fact, I put some of that down. I'm just going to tell you off the top of my head. I know for a fact we've issued over 4,000 scholarships. I'm big on education.
Hmm.
We've issued 6,800 diplomas for adult learning. We have adult learning classes where they can
Awesome.
get the, because in the maquilas, if you get a GED equivalent graduation certificate, you make an extra $2 a day. That doesn't sound like much to me and you, but when $14 is your base, it means
Yeah.
something.
And Gil,
We,
those scholarships, as I recall from reading about that in the book, folks have to earn those, right? They have to apply and be,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. That's misguided charitable handouts, in my opinion. So yes, they have to apply. And then what's interesting, the students have to volunteer. Once a month, they have to take a weekend. They have to find, and it's really cool. We find they go into the community, they found out what needs help. Do you need this building painted? Do you need this trash picked up? Do you need this hauled over here? And the students, they all wear their uniform T-shirts, and they get out. But that's how they earn their education. We've built over 1,300 homes. You want to talk about a feeling of purpose. Our groups will
Wow.
come down, they'll build a home in 3 days. And we'll
Mm-hmm.
get the little family. They get to meet the family,
That's
and we
awesome.
give them the keys on that last day. And I tell you, there's not a dry eye in the place.
I'm sure. Mine wouldn't be either.
So anyway, I could go on and on. 64,000 bags of food. We've collected 21 million discarded plastic bags.
Wow.
We've done a lot. We've got a big footprint down there, and it's interesting because with a 2,000-mile border, I don't know another organization that has accomplished what we've been able to do down there, and
Yeah,
I'm anxious to see somebody come in and replicate it,
sure.
because we just deeded over $1.8 million in equity on homes. We've
Mm,
created a Mexican middle class down there.
yeah, that's awesome.
We need to sit down and say, what do I want to accomplish in this life? And what is the purpose? What am I doing here? And how, in my mind, my answer to that, I want to have the most fun I possibly can. In fact, my mantra is, he or she who dies having had the most fun wins.
There you go.
So to find it, that's an emotion. That's a happiness that's an emotion. I want a happiness that is sustained, that is a joy that I can just part of
Deep,
who I am.
deep joy,
And
inextinguishable.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And they have proven that when you are in service to others with this magnetic resonance imaging, the left side of your brain is more stimulated, which is an indicator of joy, of happiness. And the longer you do it, the longer it stays there. So you can literally rewire your brain to be
Ah,
a happier person. Who wouldn't do that? I think this is a message really that America needs to hear, that it is in your best interest to volunteer, to
mm,
serve. It's in your best interest,
mm-hmm.
because we're still, we've been in the formation of our brains for 600 million years. We've been civilized for what, 6,000?
Yeah.
That's 0.00012% of our time on the planet we've been civilized. So we're carrying a lot of genetics that are based on primal survival.
Mm,
And I want mine. I'm going to get mine before you get yours, and blah blah blah, which is going to be the downfall of our civilization. We need to understand that it is not a sacrifice to help. It is a portal to an abundant and rich life. And that was my
right on.
purpose with writing this book, was to change the way we view service work. I think Mother Teresa was the most selfish woman on this earth, because she found out what brought her greatest joy, and she immersed herself in it 100%. By definition, that's selfish.
Just keep doing it. Lather, rinse, repeat. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hi, it's Skip here. You've heard about our merchandise store for the Main Thing podcast, and I want to tell you about our bookshop. It's an online independent bookstore where you can find and order the books that were written, recommended, and discussed by guests of the Main Thing podcast. Just check the show notes for a link that'll take you to bookshop.org/shop/the main thing. Buy some books, support independent local booksellers, and support the guests of the Main Thing podcast. Gil Gillenwater, what's the main thing you've learned in your lifetime so far?
Skip, the main thing I've learned in my lifetime so far is that Service to others is a portal to a rich and an abundant life.
Mm. Service to others is a portal to
It's
a
a
rich
portal
and abundant life.
to a
Would
rich
you
and abundant life.
would you break that down for us and kind of step us through the pieces and parts that make up that beautiful wisdom nugget that you just shared? I love that.
Well, I'm not a religious guy, and I would love to be an atheist, but I can't because I have seen so many examples when I'm in service to others of coincidence, of serendipity, of
Mm.
the world working for me. I can
Mm-hmm.
actually draw the magic of the natural world into my life by serving others. I've seen it over and over and over, and I could give you several examples, but it has been in these life is backwards in so many. Why didn't we have this experience when we were in our 20s? You have to go through it, I guess. But if I were to tell somebody young, you want a rich, abundant, meaningful, purposeful life, serve others. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds paradoxical. You think here, how can I have an abundant life when I'm giving away? It's a law of physics. It just works.
Yeah.
Try it. It works. It's been
Yeah.
my experience. It's hard to quantify and qualify from a scientific level, but again, I can just tell you what my experience is. It's brought wonderful people into my life, wonderful situations, and it has worked in my benefit in my job. It just has.
Yeah. As I internalize what you're talking about, and I think about those times of service where I've opened that portal, so to speak,
Yes.
just a feeling of awe and
Yes.
wonder that catches your breath right here,
Yes.
and you're surprised and you're in awe in a rich and unexpected way. That's what, boy, that just gets the juices flowing for me.
Yes, absolutely. It's almost that I refer to that magic instant when I hand a bag of food and I look in that recipient's eyes and they look in my eyes. There's that moment of recognition of our shared human existence. And
Yeah.
my saying is, I love the me I see in you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
That's
not separate. It's not love thy neighbor. My neighbor's over here. No, we're not separate. I'm you. You are me. And the truth of the matter is, that's even the physics of how it works.
yeah.
I'm convinced.
Gil, your main thing, service to others, is a portal to a rich and abundant life. When did that crystallize for you? Because you've lived an experiential life. You've
Yes.
been gaining wisdom. You've been having rich experiences that have shaped who you are. When did this one stick to say this is the main thing? This is the north on my compass.
Yes. Well, I think it was in Agua Prieta. I started giving probably out of guilt. But the more I got into it, and the more I saw our interconnected nature, and more than that, even is how I can enrich my life. Go down and be Santa Claus for 3 days. Who doesn't want to do that? I
Hmm.
mean, it brings such joy. When I give somebody a house or they earn the house, and I turn the keys over to them, it's as close, I think, as any human will ever get to playing God because
Hmm.
I have completely changed the trajectory of that entire family.
Hmm. Same thing, I'm sure, when you award and bestow that diploma on someone
Absolutely.
who's come through the scholarship program and earned a GED from your programs.
Skip, we've got a young man that grew up in a dirt floored shack who is now working in Berlin for Rolls Royce.
Wow.
That's what education can do. He just married
Wow.
his Russian girlfriend in
Wow.
Italy. That's education.
Transformation.
And he's donating back. He's paying it back now, and
Mm.
it snowballs. It's a
Mm.
wonderful thing to witness.
Wow. Gil, if someone listening right now or someone who's going to listen doesn't come into our conversation with the same awareness of the importance and the impact of service, if they're not living a life of service, if they haven't opened that portal yet, what is their life going to feel like?
The more time you spend on yourself, the unhappier you are going to be.
Yeah.
The more time you spend in service to others, the happier you're going to be. Now,
Mm.
which it's not a tough choice, but it's just a fact. This idea of walking around taking pictures of yourself all day, this internal, the weight, this weighted ego, and you're carrying that around all the time. And if you look around, people in America aren't happy. As I mentioned earlier, our
Yeah.
happiness was plummeting. Mexico ranked number 25. There's a paradox.
Wow.
They're a happier country, but yet they're trying to get into an unhappier country. Go
Yeah.
figure that one out.
Yeah.
I think it's because of money. We've given an inordinate amount of attention to money as the cure for our happiness, and it just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. At ranchofeliz.com, come down and volunteer with us. We built the most beautiful dormitory, and we've got these rich weekends where you can fly right into Tucson, and we'll take you down there. I guarantee you, when I take you into that barrio and you're doing a piñata for these beautiful little children, you're not thinking about your problems. You just aren't. You're thinking of, gosh, I am so fortunate to be born over there.
Gil, that sounds like a real sincere invitation to anyone who's listening.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I built it. Feed your soul for 3 days and come back, and I tell you what, all of a sudden your problems don't look all that big or important.
Let's talk about Rancho Feliz, the foundation, where it is, how it exists, what it looks like, and how folks can connect with it.
The main focus of our organization, Rancho Feliz, is to give American volunteers a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning that they cannot find in their own country. And by the way, a Mexican gets a house.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
byproduct.
That's a big, by the way. To learn more about Rancho Feliz, they can go to your website. I'm going to put a link to that on our website.
Great, Skip. We'll really appreciate that. And it's a wonderful experience. And you, of course, you've been very kind to me. You have an open invitation. I'll make sure you have an experience you will never forget.
Okay, I'm going to take you up on that.
Please. Yeah. It was honest.
Give a word of encouragement or a parting thought to our listeners of about 1,000 folks who are interested in gathering wisdom, living a life of bettering themselves, personal development. What would you leave them with, Gil?
I would leave them with the fact that we are all interconnected. That's why the knot of eternity is on my hat, this endless knot. We are interwoven. Everything I do on the planet affects you and vice versa. And if we can truly understand that, we'll start taking care of our planet. We'll start taking care of each other. It's like we're on a sinking ship and we're fighting over who's going to get to be captain and the ship sinks, right?
What a great analogy. I love that.
And we all lose.
Yeah, I'm going to use that. Yeah.
we need to understand we're all on this adventure together, and it's in my best interest to see that your path is as meaningful as it can be, because that gives me meaning. It's that reciprocal giving, and if we can truly believe it, which I do, and I know that it works, it just gives us a greater joy than any new house, any new girlfriend, any new car.
Thank you so much for your time, for sharing your stories, your passion. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, Skip.
So long for now.
Adios.
That goes by incredibly fast, doesn't it? Time flies when you're hacking wisdom. Thank you for listening to this wisdom conversation. Let's give a big hearty thank you to the crew of the Main Thing podcast. These are the folks who truly keep the wisdom pipeline flowing. Audio engineer Bob Hotchkiss, strategy advisor Andy Malinowski, public relations and partnerships guru Rachel Bell, social media and digital marketing expert Chloe Linneberg, graphic designer Emma Malinowski, and of course our patrons, those generous folks who provide monthly funding support to help underwrite our costs of production. I couldn't do it without you, nor would I want to. Your feedback matters a lot. If you have a question, a suggestion, maybe an idea, or even a nomination of a future show guest, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at info@themainthingpodcast.com. Well, that's a wrap for this show. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg, signing off for now and inviting you to join us again next time for another special delivery of wisdom.